So Anthony, obviously, almost a carbon copy of Boxing Day result, same goal scorers and everything, besides obviously 11 men on the pitch. What did you make of this affair?
I thought we was genuinely unlucky not to win the game. The keepers put off 2 worldies, the one from Rob Ramshaw straight after we'd scored, could have made it 2-0, and the one in the second half from Tomo. I think we've created the better chances, we've applied pressure really well. I think it sounds a bit daft this maybe, but the amount of corners we've had compared to them shows the pressure that we put on them to get in them type of positions. But I thought there was some good performances. You know, it's always, we talked about it after the game on Boxing Day about it in derby games. It's always tough to see free-flowing football. You know, the crowd plays a part, the players are a little bit nervous, and I think at times it took a bit of a while to get into some sort of rhythm. But I thought once we did in the second half, especially the last 25 minutes, we played well, we got the ball down, the subs made massive impacts. Jude, Mokes and Sparky come on, give us a little bit more than what we probably had going forward. But I think all in all we executed the game plan, which was to get the ball in the final third as early as possible. Once we got into the opposition's half, get Rob Ramshaw into space, and I think we did that. So it's always nice when you ask lads to do something that they execute the plan. So it was an okay performance. Obviously, the result is a point away from home. You know, we've had a bit of a tough week in terms of results. But I think in terms of performance, it was all right. You know, away from home and being hard to beat is a good sign of a good side.
So obviously coming into the game, there was that added bit of pressure with this fixture in general, and then obviously with not quite picking up results recently. How do you think the players coped with that pressure today?
I think they coped brilliantly. I think they've coped well since we've come in. You know, listen, let's have it right. We've been brought in because there were problems on the pitch. That's why the previous manager unfortunately lost his job. We've come in, and you're trying to sort of change the tide of being used to losing to being hard to beat, and I think we've shown that. You know, over the 4 games, albeit only 1 win, which was a cup game, we've shown that we've been hard to beat. Sides aren't cutting us open and creating many chances against us, but I think you can, the sort of really slow signs of the confidence improving, getting the ball into the right areas for lads like Glenn and Rob will always cause the opposition problems, and that's what we're doing. And it's good to hear the likes of Rob and Glenn telling us that the amount of chances we create, and they've not had, you know, for quite a while. So putting the opposition on the back foot and playing forwards at every opportunity, being aggressive, is what we've tried to instil. And I think we're starting to see signs that the players are doing. There's an imbalance to the squad in terms of personnel and stuff, but I think lads like Scott McLean, who's played out of position, has been unbelievable. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. I think that performance today up against Charman and Cassidy, when he overloaded that side, was superb for a lad that doesn't really play that position. And I think there's been some really good, encouraging individual performances. Obviously Tails has now got 3 and 3, I think, so he's back on the goal trail, top scorer in the league. And what we said to them type of players is we've got to create chances. You know, we've got to get the ball into areas where they get them opportunities, and I think we're doing that really well.
So obviously you mentioned some of the substitutes making a difference in the second half. What did you think of the debut from Jude Ayibo?
Brilliant. That's what he's about. That's why we brought him in. That's why we took him to Chester. You know, he's still a young player who's got, you know, probably another 10 dozen years in front of him, and he's still learning his trade at the minute. I think he probably gets a little bit knocked off the fact that people see him as an impact player, but his ability, you've just watched it there for 25 minutes, is unplayable. I think we got 2 fouls in the whole game until he come on, and he probably gets us another half a dozen. Should have had a penalty, Stonewall penalty right in front of us. I'm not blaming the ref because of the position he was in, and obviously it was on the side of the pitch where the liner was on the other end. But for me, it's a penalty. He's clipped his heels a bit like the Frank one against Blythe, and just little decisions like that are going against us. But Jude gets you up the pitch, gets you into areas that I've just talked about where we need the ball. We tried to isolate Callum, the right back, so we could get Jude 1v1, especially when he got a yellow card, and we did that really well. I think when Mokes come on, the information we gave to Adriano was about travelling with the ball, committing the opposition, and then being able to slide Jude in, and we did that 2 or 3 times. So I think it was pleasing performances on the pitch. I talked about Scott McLean there, but I thought, and I just said it in front of all the lads, I thought that was a brilliant debut from Jude.
Obviously, it was quite a congested period of fixtures over the winter break. Spennymoor have played the most games out of anyone in the league. How much of an impact do you think that's had on the squad's fitness levels and just being generally tired coming into games as well?
Oh, it's killed us. We don't do excuses, so I'm not going to sit here and make them. It's been done to death, the COVID. I think we've had 6 lads with COVID over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we've not even no one's moaned about getting the games called off. We've just got through it. The 2, Joe Tate and James Curtis could hardly run, could hardly jog at the back end of there where the legs are in bits. So everyone's in the same boat from top to bottom. But I've got nothing but praise to give to our lads for getting through this run of games. We've actually played more games and we have training sessions since we've been in. You know, I think we've been in 3 weeks on Tuesday. I think we've had 3 or 4 training sessions and 4 or 5 games. So it just shows you the period of time that we've come in for. But we will get better. The stuff that we're doing on the training ground, with the information that we're giving them. We said to the lads, it's going to be a baptism of fire early days, because it's just going to be game, and it's very difficult to implement what you're trying to do into a game scenario when you're not being able to get on the training pitch. But the lads have bought into absolutely everything. They've been superb. We can take a bit of a deep breath now going into the game next Saturday against Guiseley, and get some other bits done, you know, off the pitch in terms of training and maybe 1 or 2 incomings. So we're in decent shape. We've got the games on the board now. It's just about backing it up with points and getting some wins going.
One final note as well, obviously James Curtis in the first half went down with what seemed to be a bit of an injury to his knee. What's the status on his injury there?
It's always difficult to tell straight after the game, so it'll probably be tomorrow, Monday. Also, you'll find out how he's feeling. You know, as we've got no other centre backs on the books at this moment in time. We've come here with only Glenn as our forward. So it's, as I said, there's an imbalance. But every club and every team going through a similar problem at the minute with injuries and illness. But James has been unbelievable at the back there. 39-year-old, played every minute of every game since we've come in, not missed a minute of training. Could have scored, you know, one come off his shoulder off the corner. He's gutted about that. He could have perhaps got on the end of that, but he's been brilliant. And it'll probably be tomorrow, stroke Monday, when we get a sort of prognosis of what's wrong.